Hey guys, it's Faz from Heat on Repeat. I've got a seriously dope interview for you today. I was lucky enough to be able to ask Chris the Glove Taylor some questions, a legendary producer off the West Coast, contributing heavily to hip hop throughout the 80s and 90s, working with some extremely familiar names. And man, I just felt like a little kid, honestly, at times, listening to some of the stories he had to tell me. But I'll let you guys watch the interview to find out exactly what he has to say, so cue the intro. Hey guys, it's Faz from Heat on Repeat. I'm here today with legendary West Coast producer Chris the Glove Taylor. How's life in LA treating you, man?
It's a beautiful thing here in LA, man. I'm loving the weather.
Yeah, it looks like it's a beautiful day over there. Not quite as good over here in Melbourne, Australia. It's just coming out of winter, but yeah, life's still good. But yeah, this interview actually came to be from your comment on my video about Dr. Dre's track Xxplosive, which you said you actually produced, although you're not officially credited for doing so. But tell me, man, how did that come to be? Were you tight with Dre at the time? And does it actually bother you that you're not officially credited on that track?
Okay, well, first question is, hi, I'm Chris the Glove, and thank you for having me, man. You're dope. And yes, it came from a comment I made on a post, a beautiful post that you made, a wonderful. It's funny because most people go run to Isaac Hayes, and they think that's where it came from, and it's like, what are you talking about? This is this. And so, but so what I was at the time, I believe it was like 1998 or something like that. I was signed to Aftermath Entertainment as a producer, staff producer. So I had been working with Dr. Dre since 1989 over at Ruthless Records first, and then on to Death Row, which I was actually part of the formation, first producer to even sign, and so on. And then on to Aftermath Entertainment. So I'm the only artist or producer that's been signed to all three labels, Ruthless, Aftermath, and Death Row.
That's
so dope. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, right? So what happened was when he went to do Aftermath, we decided to go out of town to a city called Reno, Nevada. It's like a ski / kind of gambling town split between California and Nevada. So this place called Mama's House was a house in the hills that's a recording studio, like a getaway. You could sleep there and everything, but we didn't bunk there. But we went out there to do this session, spent a few days there, I think a week. And so the first day or so, these songs were being written for King T. It was me, Butter, Stu, Dre, all of the guys that were producing at the time, right? And so we were just kind of mulling around, cats were doing beats. And so I was like, look, you guys, I want to do something like this. And I pulled out the break beat that everyone thinks is such an amazing thing that they've discovered this break beat. I pulled the break beat out. I said, look, everybody was looping beats, they looping them one bar.
Yeah.
So I said, look, watch this, Dre. I took the beat and I played it. It goes doom, doom, ticka-tock, doom, doom, tock, something like that. I went doom, ticka-tock, and I stopped it. I was like, watch, doom, ticka-tock, doom, ticka-tock, doom, ticka-tock. So then I looped it like that, right? It had a space in it because it didn't do, so it was this piece. Then I said, watch this. I said, because I stopped it and I said, look, bro, I'm tired of all these dudes, they stack these beats and this and that. We need to show them we just need one kick drum, one snare drum, one hi-hat, no stacks. That's how solid production team we are. That's the kind of guy I am. I have been the guy who was already platinum before all of them dudes even started. So I'm like, I saw this Gran Turismo. I'm like the Gran Turismo guy, but the one who actually won the race. If he had won Le Mans, the OG, then he would have been me. But, I used to always say, look, man, we got to press up on these cats. So, because it was, to me, everything's a battle as a DJ and as a hip hopper. So I do this beat. Then I said, and I always wanted to sample this thing that Mobb Deep had sampled. They sampled Bumpy's Lemon, right? So I was listening to their beat, or it was them, and then it was them, and I think either Junior Mafia or what's the girl's, Little Kim. She had it. One of them had that. And I was like, see how they played that? I just want to use it the other way, watch. And I played it. So I had the loop going with it, right? So then recorded that. Called up. I said, look, I want the bass, but I want Colin to play the bass like we did on Deep Cover and on all the shit I produced, Colin play bass. So we fly Colin Wolf in. He plays the bass line. Then I get Sean, not Mike Elizondo, but Sean plays the guitar part. All he does is mimic the part because it's an interpolation. I play the 2 keyboard parts. Boom, you notice it's in a different pitch and everything. You couldn't even separate it like that. So then we added another sound and that was it. Long story short, it was made for King T to do for his Thy Kingdom Come album. That was the session booking, billing. So then I did that really quick, like boom, boom, boom. We recorded it. I was like, yeah, this is dope. Then, because I like to do at least 2 songs. If we're doing music, we need to do like 2 tracks in a 12-hour session. So we can have 2 things, A and B. So I started, Dre had a beat going. It was just a 1 beat, that's what we call them. It was a boom, pop, boom, pop, boom, pop. So I don't really like those, but I had an idea for a bass line. So I was like, look, bro, boom, 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 right? Boom, 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 right? Boom, 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 in the piano. Dun-dun-dun. This is hello.
Yeah.
Dun-dun-dun, woo-woo. Yeah, so I did that. I played the bass, I played the keys, up until I played most of that. I didn't play every sound on
So there's
Hello.
no sample on Hello, it's just you doing everything basically?
No. We don't, when you see me, I don't use samples.
Yeah.
I make drums, and then I didn't even use that break beat where everybody thinks it was a break beat. But what I did was I chopped up the pieces and played it like I did the loop. So, and then after you chop, you got to know how to chop. If you notice there's no hiss or no air, you don't hear that thing. You know that it, whatever. So I built that, and it was a very cool thing. No one ever said that. It was the funniest issue because we made that in like 2000 and 1998, 90, and the person who was credited on there wasn't even in the session. 2 people are credited on this record that weren't even there. And then I saw somewhere, it might've been yours, I don't know, it says Scott Storch. I was like, bruh, Scott Storch I'd never even met that guy. And I worked with Drake for 25 years. Everybody know me over there. So that means that I was gone. I left right in maybe February of 1999 was when I actually left. I was about to work on this Eminem album in 98 in September, and then I got sick. I had to have brain surgery.
Sure. Yeah.
So
that's intense.
It was pretty intense, bro.
Yeah. Glad to see you're fine.
I left. Thank you. I left that music, and then when I got kind of my rehab was to get into television music. But anyway, so your questions.
Yeah, well, as an extension of that first one as well, man. So does that bother you that you're not credited on it, or it is what it is?
So there was a time when so my whole play in the beginning was, I just need to be working here and making sure my music is getting out. And it was an issue if there was, my first issues with someone crediting or not crediting me had happened some years before. And so when this happened, I was kind of trying to make sure that didn't take place again. And then I don't want to say that I'm not upset now in any way, I feel like it's what happened, but I just, I might not have approached it with enough tenacity, or maybe, I don't know. So, but I feel, look, man, the one thing about one thing is you can only forgive people when you forget. Either you forget or you forget about it. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, as long as you know like what you've contributed, like that's all that really matters. I mean, you don't need everyone else's validation, I'm sure.
No, but the one thing that I am going to rectify in some form or fashion is for my children. I want them to know, like I have a daughter who, my first daughter, Dr. Dre is her godmother. And he came to the ceremony, to the christening at the church and stood there, you know, like a boss, you know what I'm saying? And so, but then, like by the time she was 2, I got sick. And then after that, by the time I was 7, she and her mom had moved to Florida. So she never really had an experience of godfathering from this gentleman. So fast forward to maybe 5 years ago, in 2020, I think, I was working with Dre on some projects and I finally got a chance to FaceTime her and introduce the adult. I said, "This is your godfather," and I handed him the phone, and she was quite emotional. It was an amazing thing to see. So I just want my children, but they can't, when they tell people stuff, people be like, "Yeah, right, I don't see his name." You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
some kids can be mean and some can be, you know, then their dad gets ripped off and they go, "Wow, my dad," then they go back. Eventually, all things come to light. So I'm just, you know, trying to just, you know, I'm a good soldier, bro. I'm not fucking around. I'm not gonna be hitting cats up and I'm not gonna end up in a freezer like in the movie. I'm cool.
Yeah, well, good things come to good people, man. So I'm sure it will come around and you'll get what you really deserve out of that. But yeah, my next question was actually in relation to the track Hello. Like, I just wanted to say that and Xxplosive, growing up, me and my homies, you know, we'd rap along bar to bar to both those tracks. Absolutely love them. You know, 2 of my all-time favorite hip hop tracks. And, you know, as much as like Nate Dogg and Ice Cube, they make those tracks classics, they'd be absolutely nothing if it wasn't for the dope production from yourself. So do you reflect back on being part of such iconic hip hop tracks in such an iconic time? And if you do, how does it make you feel when you look back on it?
I tell you, man, I feel like, where is that at?
That's
This
dope.
is part of that.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I look back now, like I have some pictures that I even post on my Instagram, and I'll see, you know, all the guys in the picture, and I'm in the picture, and everybody in the picture is known, like everybody except me. And so I always felt like one day I'm gonna be the most famous person in these pictures. Like they're gonna look at this picture and go, "Who are these guys with him?" You know what I mean? "Oh, I know that's Dre and Snoop," blah, 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 that kind of thing. Like, so it's kind of the strangest thing. You go through all these different emotions, right? And then, I mean, I'm 61. I've been in the business since it was a baby, especially in LA. I was the first guy with the platinum record, me and Ice-T. We knew what that was. They was getting gold later. Excited, like, "Nah, bro, you gotta sell millions." What? Yeah, millions.
I'm sure it was a lot tougher to do $1 million back then as well.
It's always tough to do $1 million. That's the benchmark. I mean, I don't care what it is. You can do that. It takes that. So you got to be a million person to go get that million and go after it and bring it in. You got to know how many. You feeling me? It's a thing. Money attracts money. Those things work together. They want to be. But the other thing is, man, look. We did a thing, we made music I always crack up because, as you said, yes, if it weren't for my children, I really kind of it'd be my mom. I want to make sure, but my mom knows when I tell her something, she believes me. So I say, "Hey, Mom, I did this, this, and this." Then my other people, they say, "I know these licks. I can hear you playing Doggy Dog World, all the instruments to that. I can hear you came in there with that bass line and flipped that. And I can hear that you did Stranded on Death Row on the Chronic album. You produced that, you know what I mean? And then you brought it to Dre. And I can hear that you did, you know, you played the bass on Dre Day, and you've done a lot of things that, you know, so, but I was part of a team and a crew, and I'm not the only one who has or has not felt some kind of, you know, way about things. It's lots of people, even the ones at the top, they haven't been treated fairly. People don't treat Dre and Snoop fairly at all. they do a lot more than they get credit for because there's so much of this other things happening. People just try to discredit them, and there's no way to discredit greatness. I never subscribe to that. When people start trying to slander my dudes, they can kiss my ass and eat a fucking dick. Because I will come over to Australia and beat the shit out of somebody with that bullshit. That they've never been in a room. Everybody's an armchair quarterback on Monday after the game. At least I call plays during the game. I'm on the armchair, but I'm calling plays. You know? So, and in real life, I'm not in the armchair. I'm in the captain's coach chair. He's captain. He's Kirk. I'm Spock, and that's it.
Well, it sort of sucks. I mean, negativity sort of sells, unfortunately. Like with my page, I just try to show love to people. I'm not out there trying to shed light on negative bullshit that's happened in people's careers, just like the high points. So man, you've worked with so many hip hop Hall of Famers, from Nas to Exhibit to Snoop to Cube. But if you just had to pick one who you really felt that your production just meshed with perfectly, who would it be?
Nas. I worked with Nas for 2 weeks, and when I did Phone Tap, I was working on that beat in my headphones on the MPC. That's like when we do the studio, we'll have a drum machine there that's plugged up so we can record as soon as we finish. It's ready to go and it's hooked up to the main speakers. You just hit a button, everything come up, right? But you can work on your headphones while they're doing something else. So I go into the room. I didn't have any pre-prepared music to do this Firm album, right? So I'm a cook-up artist. I don't like to have shit. So I had this loop ringing around in my head. Again, another loop. I had the dat of the part that I like. It's a certain section. But the section I wanted to use with the guitar was 3-3 and not 4-4. So I was like stuck, like, how do I get this to work with what I'm trying to do? It's not working. So I had been doing that for a month, right? I found this loop and I had been working on it. I was like, what the fuck? So it was really a brain teaser, right? So I go, I'm in Miami. I'm in the studio down there, Crescent Moon, that was the name of it. So we're upstairs. I got these headphones on and I go to the drum machine. I'm like, whose drums are in here? And one of the producers says, oh, those are mine. I was like, the guy who did West Side Connection, Bow Down, he got the drums in there, right?
Classic.
I'm like, those are your drums? He was like, yeah, you go ahead and use them. Like, I'm just like fucking around. I'm like, nah, man, I need to let me put my drums in. But he's like, nah, man, go ahead and use those. I said, if I use these drums, you'll never be able to use them again. And he laughed. I looked at him. I was like, you don't know who the fuck you fucking with, bro? Like, I'm finna tear this snare I just heard, bro, you never watch. And sure enough, you've only heard that song on Phone Tap. You heard that snare on Can't Believe. And they made a copy. They ain't even got the right one. So I put the beat up. The like same way, I got the loop going and this and that. So I'm still like this. I was like, because I finally got it to fit in the beat, right? So I'm like, yeah. So Dre look over at me. I got my headphones on. I'm bobbing my head. And he's like, what glove cooking up? And he hit the button and turned all the way up, trying to catch me in a goofy moment. I took off my headphones and looked up. That shit, when he turned that shit on, he turned it on. And it was Phone Tap. With the fucking everything.
Did he have
right?
the stank face? Like, oof.
That
Oof.
motherfucker turned it up, and he looked at the speakers. He turned around and looked at me. And when he was looking at me, the door flew open behind him, and Nas and AZ flew inside with the track masters behind him. So Dre was standing there looking like King of Almighty, because he was looking like, what the fuck, glove? But it was looking from the house. Remember that angle? Like, motherfucker, see what I just did? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's awesome, bro.
So when he came in, they sat down at the table. So the cool thing about Phone Tap was, I told Nas, as soon as he sat down, I had this idea in my head, right? I don't know what the fuck, why I had it, but I told Nas, yo, I feel like I want to do a whole song with the phone voice. You know, people always do like a little part or a little answer, background part. What if we did, because you was in Brazil and he was in Europe, y'all had to only could talk on the phone, like, yeah, that's it. Yo. And they came up with a hook, like, instantly. I got your phone tapped, Nas. It was Nas and fucking AZ chanting that shit. I was like, all we need now is the right word or two. You can tell that Nas did that when you hear Nas say it, you be like, oh shit. So then they started writing the verses. Like after I said that, it's like now they having a phone conversation. You know, I came up with that whole. When you produce, you don't just make a beat and go.
Yeah, so you're really working with them like on that track, because I know some producers probably would just make a beat and just ship it out, but they're
not producers, they just beat makers and shippers.
Yeah.
They're shipper outer beat makers. You gotta be in the room and make the, you know, you can be that's called a composer, a maker of music. A person who makes music is a composer. That's a writer. Writers write words, composers write musical notes, or if they're recording it with an audio device, that's a composer. So these producers are composers. They're running around. It's a lack of understanding of the language is all. That's all. Yeah. It's nothing personal. People can call themselves what they want. I'm a producer. I produce the beat. Boom. Okay, boom. But I gotta take your produced beat and produce that motherfucker, because you need new drums. The sound is cool. I like the arrangement, but I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna edit some shit, and then I'm gonna get this guy to get on it. And they want to take all the credit.
Yeah, just touching on off air before, you were talking about a story about Tupac to do with California Love. If you just wanted to elaborate on that a bit, it would be dope, man.
Oh yeah, man. Let me tell you. California Love was originally a Dr. Dre song, both verses. It was gonna be the single off his next album. It was gearing up to get it going. And then the whole Tupac thing happened. Became whatever, boom, boom. So I'm working with Dre at his house in Calabasas. He had a studio there, SSL. We're laying, the track is down, Sam Snead, me, him. And then we had these horn players come in to do the part where you're all of those. So what we do is we take samples and rebuild them so they sound better, because they don't sound right to us. That's where he came with the dun 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 dun. I think that's Bob Dylan or Knick Knack Paddywhack or some shit. So Dre was like, after he got all the loops and stuff, he played all the parts. We got the horn players coming in. So he's like, oh, we're gonna record Matty Moore and Jack. So can you play a part for me that's different from everything? So I played this keyboard part that I made up for it, a little chord. Then I said, I'll be right back. I went to the kitchen. So I'm in the kitchen. Like maybe 10 minutes later, Tupac comes walking in the kitchen, right? Smoking a blunt. I'm like, what's up, Pac? He's like, what's up? You want to hit this? So I hit the blunt. I actually smoked with Tupac. And passed it back. And he says, I say, you want a sandwich or something? Because, you know, we made sandwiches back then. It wasn't weird. It was normal. And he was like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna go see who's in here. So he walked around, and it's usually about 20 people in the house or at the pool. So he walked through. So I finished making this dope-ass elaborate sandwich. Took me probably another 5 minutes. I go behind, follow the same trails, Tupac. Through the pool, talked to a few people. I figured it took me another 8 minutes to get all the way in there. When I walk in that room, remember I told you it was Dre, 2 verses. I walk in there, I see Tupac on the microphone, and I hear, I don't bail, fresh out of jail, California dreaming. Something, hoochie screaming. He's busting that rap. I was like, Dre, I thought this was just you. He said, it's me and Pac now. I said, how did he? I just went to the kitchen. He wasn't even here. He said he came in and busted that shit out. He doing the triple right now. I'm like, motherfucker. That Tupac I missed it. I saw the last part, but I didn't see the whole, man, what should I do? Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I always see, like when I told you Nas and them busted in the room, I never got up to get a sandwich again, I tell you that.
Can't
hey,
blame
runner,
you, man.
go get me a sandwich. Hey, runner, go do this. Hey, Dre, we need a runner for the house, because I'm not leaving the room. Great things happen when I get up.
Yeah, I would have glued myself into that room, I reckon, if I was in their vicinity.
It wasn't that room, it was every room.
Yeah.
Every time we worked, them dudes was around. It's just, that's the only song we did with Pop. So that whole connection was for Dre to work with Pop.
Not a bad song to have done with Tupac, man. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, take that to the grave for sure. Just lastly, man, you touched on like your latest album, but if you had any other projects in the works, or even if you want to elaborate even more on that, that our viewers should keep their eyes and ears out for, just let us know now.
Right now, I'm gonna tell you, man, it's all about Redshirt Freshman. So I'm a Web3 activist, right? I believe in Bitcoin originals and NFTs and all of that, but I believe that it's crooked people in every place, just like any other place. Any banking or finance, you got people who know how to hustle. So in my mind, I felt like, it's getting a bad rap. So I decided to come up with the same concept where you have an item that seems to be intangible, but it has a utility. So therefore, it has a usage, you have a physical copy of it, and it gains in value. And that's the same as what an NFT or an art piece would be. So the only way to get value is to drum value and to create value. I value myself. I don't ask the public how much should I charge for this album. This album right now is $150. Take it or leave it. You can't afford it. It's 10, 15 songs, $10 a song. You have them. Like, what are you talking about? Think about that. So anyway, and there's gonna be more songs added. And when the next guy when he come back, it's gonna be more. So don't fuck around. Like, and you just stand pat on it because it's really the vehicle. Let me tell you, so the Redshirt Freshman album, the name comes from me feeling as in NCAA athletics in America, there is what's called eligibility. I already played a sport because I'm a producer. You could say I'm a legend already in one feat. Now I'm doing vocals. So I'm a freshman, but I'm an older freshman. That makes me the red shirt. I'm the old guy that got to practice with the team for a year and then he got a scholarship. He's normally a 5th-year senior, so that's where the title comes from, Redshirt Freshman. I'm out here rapping now and I got eligibility, let's go.
Yeah. I'm sort of in tune with that stuff. I follow NBA and a bit of the NCAA as well, pretty closely.
So you got my title?
Yeah, no, I understood, like, sort of what it meant, for sure, yeah.
That's dope, man, that's the thing. Like, my girlfriend, Melanie, she was, we went to see Gran Turismo, third mention, and she didn't know what the title. I said, babe, you ever seen Mortal Kombat? She's like, yeah. I said, this is like that. That's a game from the 80s. This guy made that game 25 years ago. You never saw this Khomeini game over there in the corner? Like, that's like the Mario Brothers. It's the same. And she was like, oh, like she never played. She walked right past Gran Turismo to the karate one.
Yeah.
So I'm by saying people don't know, they just don't know.
Yeah, you got to be in touch. Well, yeah, that's basically all I had for today, man. I just wanted to say that your dope beats have been there for me for the good and the bad times for over a decade now. So it's been an honor to speak to you today, man, and I thank you so much for doing this as well.
Pleasure's all mine, man. Enjoy yourself and just keep me apprised of what you got going on.
Thank you, bro. I'll definitely be keeping in touch, and I'll be linking all your like upcoming projects and the Redshirt Freshman album or project in the description as well. But yeah, to our viewers, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for more and keep that heat on repeat. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you go check out everything the Glove has to offer, which I'll have linked below in the description. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and go check out a couple of our older interviews and videos as well. And beside that, keep pumping that heat.